Welcome, guys, to How the Frack We Got Here, a show that takes the news and events of the week and try to make sense out of it all. I'm your host, the most Will Buchanan, and on this show, we simply are all about the facts. There are plenty of news stations out there that simply want to do anything short but inform you. Here at How the Frack We Got Here, that's all we believe in. We go up to the left, we go up to the right, we go up to the middle of independence, we go up to all sides because there's more than one side of a story to everything. And you need to know it all in order to actually formulate your own opinion. And that's what we try to do here at How the Frack We Got Here. Thanks for listening, and hold on. It's going to be fun.
I think Cuba, in its own way, for tourism and everything else, it's a beautiful island, great weather. They're not in a hurricane zone, which is nice for a change. They won't be asking us for money for hurricanes every week. But I think Cuba's the end. All my life I've been hearing about the United States and Cuba. When will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good. That's a big honor. Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation right now. They were for a long time. Very violent leaders. Castro was a very violent leader. His brother's a very violent leader. Extremely violent. That's how they governed. They governed with violence. But a lot of people would like to go back.
Now, I will say this completely. You ever want to see the after effects of a person that watches Fox News all their lives and never been told and never been wrong, never taken up accountability, at the same time believe they always are right in everything that they say? Exhibit A. Diaper Don believes that he can take Cuba easily, forgetting the fact that he also cut off the oil supply to Cuba because of their dwindling fuel supplies. Their power grid is actually now offline. Why? Because Trump and company decided to basically choke their actual oil supply. And now he is talking about, I can pretty much do whatever I want with Cuba. Again, the fact that he sat there and said that he can get away with it should scream volumes about how he's treating this presidency. Today's date, March 18, 2026, and this is How the Frack We Got Here. I'm your host, Will Buchanan on the Frack We Got Here. We do take the events of the week and try to make sense of it all. Before we get started, guys, let you know we do pride ourselves on being on a news podcast, which means we only cite from sources with award-winning journalism. We do not do sensational news like Fox News, The Blaze, CBS News Now, wherever you get your extreme left or extreme right views from. We simply don't do that. We provide you with nothing but the facts. At the same time, guys, we do also try to maintain our professionalism, but words do fly. At the same time, guys, many things that might be shown might be too intense for younger viewers, but yes, as always, viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. Well, there's no other way I can say this, guys, outside of the fact that my camera has froze, so bear with the brother a second. But yes, Trump believes that he can take Cuba pretty easily. I mean, at this point, let's also be honest. He's literally taken Venezuela without a fight. He's also, at this point, stepped into it with Iran. And let's not also forget that he wants Denmark. Yeah, let's not forget that little tidbit. He wants Denmark, but now he is focusing. Realize that mic just took me out. Apologize, guys. His hardest. There we go. Sorry about that. Remember we sat there and said Trump is basically doing his hardest with Iran because apparently Iran is a cesspool and he completely effed up? Well, it's not a war anymore. As he calls it, it's an excursion now. Yes, he actually used a word that I'm pretty sure he did not know the definition of.
We did a little excursion. We had to take this little few weeks of excursion, but it's been incredible. Our military is unbelievable, the job they're doing. I would say, to put it mildly, way ahead of schedule. We've knocked out their Navy, their military in all forms. We've knocked out just about everything there is, including their leadership. twice. We knocked out twice their leadership, and now they have a new group coming up. Let's see what happens to them. But 47 bad years we suffered with them, not only us, the rest of the world. And we're doing our job. So we had to take an excursion, but it's doing well. The market's holding up well. I figured we'd be hit a little bit, but we were hit probably less than I thought, and we'll be back on track in a pretty short while. Prices are coming down very substantially. Oil will be coming down. That's just a matter of war. That happens you can almost predict it. I would say it went up a little bit less than we thought. It's going to come down more than anybody understands. Do you have any questions, Peter?
Yes. You just said it is a little excursion, and you said it is a war. So which one is it?
Well, it's both. It's both. It's an excursion that will keep us out of a war, and the war is going to be. For them, it's a war. For us, it's turned out to be easy.
Okay, let's just stop it right there for a second because my head hurt. The journalist asked a very simple question. Hey, Diaper Don, is it a war or is it an excursion? Two very different things. Oh, well, it's both, actually. No, it can't be both. It's an excursion that keeps us out of a war. No, it's a war that you started because you decided to go along with welfare queen Netanyahu because Israel sat there and said, we are going to bomb Iran. This is how it all started. Israel told the U.S., we are going to bomb Iran. What we should have said was, oh, we French, because who is we? If y'all guys want to start a war, we got nothing to do with it. Because Israel is like the Chihuahua that basically has the pit bull as their neighbor, or I should say as their roommate, because they're doing a whole lot of barking, but doing none of the attacks. And I don't know what it is about Israel and the chokehold that it has in the U.S., but it must be some powerful dirt. Because at the same time, getting back to Diaper Don, he first said that the war was already wrapped up. We have destroyed 100% of their military capability, yet we are still having this issue of controlling them. At the same time, he says it's not a war, it's an excursion to keep us out of a war. Yet the only person putting boots on the ground is us. Meanwhile, at the same time, you have, already servicemen heading to Iran's coastal line. Because why? Because, again, this one-sided war that Trump and company want to do are now about to cost American lives. And he is okay with it. His ramblings alone should be warning signs. I mean, his ramblings alone should be warning signs. And yet, the GOP will not stop him. Democrats can do everything they can. They try to do a War Powers Act. They try to rein in his powers as a commander-in-chief. And Republicans do what they've always done. They will always toe the party line. So I wasn't expecting the Republicans to stop him. They're too busy having their Christmas, just like the last time he was president. They had their Christmas because why? Because Trump was running the show and he had more idiots than folks voting. And unfortunately, that's what got him in a second time. What's also crazy about this war is 6 days in. And here's the price tag. The price tag for the war, already over $12 billion. That was 2 days. Let me tell you something. At the day of this publication, first 6 days of Iran war cost $11.3 billion. That was 3 days ago. It's higher now. But let's think about this for a second. $11.3 billion that the Pentagon, who, by the way, still gets trillions of dollars in funding, which increases every fiscal budget, and the Pentagon has failed every financial audit. And yet, $11.3 billion, 6 days in the war with Iran. So, I always thought here's the thing I always thought was so interesting about that whole thing is always never ceases to amaze me. Whenever it comes to universal health care, whenever it comes to income wages, whenever it comes to infrastructure or, trying to, reinvesting in our education systems, building broken roads and things of that nature, paying educators and 911 responders, but first 911 responders more. And it always ceases to amaze me. You hear from the Republicans, where are we going to get the money for that? In the words of George Carlin, it is amazing how they always have money to bomb the crap out of another country, but never anything for education. And yet, the same GOP, the same conservatives that said there is no money anywhere else, just like that, nearly $12 billion plus already spent on a war that's now going into day 8. Tell me, I'm going to be honest, Tyler Perry couldn't write this story any better. And the man's had practice. But here's also what's crazy. That, again, in the world that makes only sense to Trump, because I'm pretty sure him and RFK have the same brain doctor, and that man's credentials need to be revoked, by the way. He now wants to reach out to his allies because he wants them to help them defend a certain key piece of watery canal that is so detrimental to the rest of the world's economy, and he's asking for his allies to help defend it. I wish I could make this up.
Morning, President Trump scrambling to put together an international coalition to help force open the Strait of Hormuz. The strategic strait now effectively blocked by Iran, which has targeted transiting tankers, sending oil and gas prices soaring.
They should be not only thanking us, they should be helping us.
Despite the president's belated outreach to several countries, urging them to send warships to help escort ships through the strait, no allies have signed on so far. Germany's defense minister rebuffing the president's pressure campaign, saying, quote, "This is not our war. We did not start it." Other allies, including the UK and France, remain non-committal.
Had President Trump done the work to build a coalition of the willing, to consult and engage our NATO allies and vital partners before launching this war of choice, then they might feel more invested in ensuring that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened.
As the conflict widens, NBC News has learned the president is presented regularly with options to end the war, but has not taken any so far, according to 6 people with knowledge of the plans. The president detailing his thinking about the remaining Iranian regime.
All of their leaders are dead, as far as we know, but they're all dead. We don't know who we're dealing with.
All as gas prices continue to surge, now averaging $3.79 a gallon, up more than 80 cents in a month. The war shaking up President Trump's economic agenda in other ways, including now delaying his long-planned summit with China's Xi Jinping, meant to focus on trade and other issues between the world's 2 largest economies.
We're speaking to China. I'd love to, but because of the war, I want to be here. I have to be here, I feel.
Yeah, you have to be there. No, you don't. Let me tell you something. That is such a cop-out. Because simple fact of the matter is you don't have to be there. And at the same doggone time that he is asking, and I want to bring this up as a map so people know what I'm talking about. So this area here, the Strait of Hormuz, right? Now, understand that you're probably wondering, why is this geographical location mentioned so many times? Well, it's because oil tankers from Iraq and Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, come through there in order to basically go out of that region. So that little area where, again, if you have noticed, Iran seems to have a pretty good home field advantage on. And Iran has already sat there and said, we will destroy tankers that come to that region. And this is why I say Diaper Don and company didn't think this through, because Iran got home field advantage. You have tankers that belong to various different companies and corporations that are either sitting in that area, they're sitting in that body of water, or hoping to God they can get through, which again, Iran has sat there and said, you try it, we're taking you out. But the craziest part about all this is that Trump is reaching out to NATO allies, which I find funny because I didn't think France and the UK was talking to us anymore. And he's like, why don't you guys send your warships? Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say you bombed their military capabilities 100%? That they can't defend themselves? Oh, but at the same time, I guess he forgot this little tidbit where he puffed up his chest and forgot he was talking some major big boy shit about Iran, saying, oh, we don't need any help. And this is why the internet doesn't forget.
In getting America's allies to assist the U.S. in escorting those oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, we don't need too much help, and we don't need any help, actually. In fact, we just put out a notice. I was watching over the last couple of weeks, and all of our NATO allies were very much in favor of what we did. They thought it was very important. We were just discussing it, actually. Very important that we take out the nuclear threat from Iran, and we've done that very strongly, very powerfully. We've wiped out their Navy, wiped out their military in every aspect. Their Air Force is now decimated. They have no Air Force, no Navy. They have no radar. Their radar is entirely gone. Their anti-aircraft machinery is gone. Everything is gone. Their leaders are gone. I guess one of their top person was, they say, a lot of people say their actual top was killed yesterday, along with somebody else who was responsible for the killing, the man that was responsible for the killing of 32,000 people over the last 2 weeks. He was in charge of the killing of protesters. It's an evil group. I mean, they've killed much more than 32,000 people. And the man who was responsible for that was also killed yesterday. And all of the NATO allies agreed with us. But they don't want to, despite the fact that we help them so much, we have thousands of soldiers in different countries all over the world, and they don't want to help us, which is amazing. I mean, amazing. And I didn't do a full court press because I think if I did, they probably would be. But we don't need help. That war has been long prosecuted, as far as I'm concerned, almost from day one. We knocked out many of these things. We knocked out the Navy essentially in a couple of days. But I was surprised to see that NATO, while they agreed that it was a very important thing to do, they agree fully. Nobody said, oh, you shouldn't do it. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 1 month of when we had the B-2 bombers bomb the nuclear potential. I call it the nuclear dust. So I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake. And I've long said that, I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test because we don't need them.
Oh, diaper Dawn, diaper Dawn, diaper Dawn. How many more times are you gonna sit there? And I'm gonna be so honest with you guys. It's amazing how he compliments, insults, passive aggressive insults, whines, complains, and then comes to a resolution that it's all him. I am trying to figure that out. We went from completely bombing Iran, saying we've desolated them to 100%. Then you need help. You're calling on these allies to help, send their warships to protect these oil tankers going through the Strait of Hormuz. And then you turn around and sit there and say beforehand, oh, we didn't need any help. And that NATO agreed with your actions. I don't know what fantasy land or what drugs they got pumping through you to keep you alive, sir, but it must be some powerful stuff. Must be life-altering, powerful stuff. Because again, no nation, as of this podcast, after this live broadcast, has sided with Trump. Nobody. I mean, you guys heard on the previous clip, the UK and France are like, we out. We don't jump. We don't help with one-on-ones. And this was a one-on-one that you caused. And it is amazing to me now that Trump is scrambling because this is his Vietnam. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is his Vietnam. This is his Vietnam. He made so much fun of Biden and judged him for the withdrawal from Afghanistan. He judged him harshly. It's almost like karma said, okay, here's your Vietnam. You started a war because Iran wasn't messing with us. Iran was not building a nuclear weapon, even though your B-52 bombers, as you claim, took out installations. That was a lie. The damage that was estimated was not equal to the actual realistic numbers. And now you're sitting there on pins and needles trying to figure out how to get out of this because you're hardly sober. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has already sent American soldiers toward Iran. It is another Vietnam situation waiting to happen. And all we can say is, for all those people that are worried about your loved ones going over there, or if you don't worry about a draft, or if you're worried about reserves, this is the reason why most folks do not like serving when you got a commander-in-chief that treats war like it's a video game. And he himself dodged the Vietnam War with bone spurs, but and little baby hands. But we're not going to go into that. But I just think it's funny where he's asking for assistance. What happened to the Board of Peace? What happened to this Board of Peace that was supposed to be peace through strength? That had a $5 billion price tag to join your Board of Peace that was put in a Qatar account that was held by the Saudis so you can have your own money. What happened to that? Nowhere to be found. And at the same doggone time, I love that he keeps pointing out NATO. NATO's like, this ain't got nothing to do with us. You started. You committed the war crime. You're not going to make us accessories to it. Oh, and the real reason why Trump won't travel to China, China's got the U.S. by the balls. We still owe China money. And China's sitting there like, we know you're good for it, but hey, when you get money, pay us first. And at the same time, keep in mind, Trump tried to go to war with China on manufacturing. You're not going to win the war on a country whose number one thing of currency is manufacturing. You're not going to win that battle. Just saying. But moving right along, guys, I got to talk about this one because imagine that, some people that work in the Trump administration, some of them see the light, some of them try to change things. Some of them see the light and say, F this mess, I'm out. Hence the person under Tulsi Gabbard who resigned. Why? I'll let him tell it.
Terrorism official. President Trump's war with Iran. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center posted on social media saying, quote, Iran posed no imminent threat to the U.S. He also says it's clear we started this war due to pressure from Israel. Let's bring in White House correspondent Karen Travers for more on that. Senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez and ABC's Patrick Reevell in Doha, Qatar as well. Hi to you all. So, Louis, how significant is this resignation?
It's very significant, Diane, because this is a senior U.S. counterterrorism official, a top intelligence official in the administration, and he has been a very strong supporter of President Trump for quite some time. He's former Green Beret, former CIA. His wife actually was killed in a terror attack in Manbij, Syria, 8 years ago. And so he heads the organization that would determine whether there is a terrorist threat to the United States. And the fact that he says there was no imminent threat is very significant because one of the justifications that the Trump administration has used is saying that there was an imminent threat being posed by Iran towards the United States. Now, they haven't specified exactly what they meant, but one of the things that they've pointed to is the nuclear threat, that Iran was on the verge of creating a nuclear weapon based off of their 400 kilograms of enriched uranium. So the fact that you have Joe Kent now offering his resignation is a strong indication of the division within the administration, potentially, of how the war is being carried out, and whether this goes against President Trump's campaign promises not to initiate a war and to end all endless wars. But again, very significant given his position. And especially, I think the key thing to point out is his notion that there was no imminent threat to the United States being posed by Iran. And so I think that again points to divisions within the administration as we're now entering the third week in this conflict against Iran.
So, yes, that man right there, National Counterterrorism Center Director, Joe Kent. That man right there, as you see pictured, is the one that has seen the light. And what has he said? Well, hang on one second.
War due to pressure from it.
There we go. So for all those that didn't get to see it, I paused it and I don't mind reading it. After much reflection, I've decided to resign my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center effective today. I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobbyists. It has been an honor serving under POTUS and Tulsi Gabbard and leading the professionals at NTTC. May God bless America. Now, I didn't get the Fox News side of this. Why? Because Fox News is not a real news station. It's an entertainment network. But I will say this. That man, Mr. Kent, was vilified, saying that he's not a real patriot. How dare he go against our president? How dare he, spew such lies about Iran and, talking so much about our neighboring country, Israel. They went after him. Why? Because I hate to say it, there's actually somebody in the administration under Diaper Don that said, there's a line and I'm not crossing it. So yes, they can be taught. And now that man is getting vilified. Why? Because he told the truth. He's the director of national counterterrorism. He's basically like, everybody got, for all those that don't remember, Fox about 10 years ago, a show called 24 with Kiefer Sutherland on it. That was a part of the CTC, counterterrorism, CTU, counterterrorism unit. Kind of similar. But again, what the point I'm getting at is that is the guy under Tulsi Gabbard, because she's the director of national intelligence. He served under her. He's the guy that you go to say, hey, is this a problem? Because he's supposed to know. Now, if you are the director of the National Counterterrorism Center that watches everybody out of almost absolute paranoia, and you turn around and say, Iran is not a threat, why are we bombing them? Even more so, he's like, dude, I can't. No, I can't be with this. This is not what I signed up for. And it is amazing to me that, because one person actually did their job, fulfilled their oath to the Constitution in their office, and you have Trump and everybody else vilifying him because he refused to bow down to a pretend dictator with baby hands. Amazing, isn't it? Completely and truly amazing. Because he told the truth. Israel, for some odd reason, has some sort of hold on our American government. Has a beyond understanding chokehold. Because keep in mind, Israel wanted to bomb Iran. And what the U.S. should have done or should have said, go ahead. You can do it without us. And once you do it without us, don't come complaining don't come complaining. Because let's be honest, if the U.S. did not back Israel would shut their mouth. Iran, Saudi Arabia would take them out in a few months. But it's only because the U.S. backs them that Israel got their chest out saying, I am with the pettiness. But not surprised that, again, I had a counterterrorism director sit there and say he wasn't a threat, and Trump and Hegseth still wanted their war. And that alone screams volumes. And also the reason why the border peace is bullshit. And also at the same time, you can tell who are the loyalists in Trump's administration and who are the ones that are actually qualified to do their job. Although I can't understand why Tulsi Gabbard's there for director of national intelligence in her position. That sounds like an oxymoron. That being said, I got to talk about Brendan Carr for a second, because if you guys don't believe that they're trying to have state-run media, this man is trying, because you know what he sat there and said? FCC chairman Brendan Carr sat there and said, whoever to broadcast that poke fake news must correct course before their license renewals come up. Now, keep in mind, this is Project 2025. Control the airwaves to where what their view is the only thing being seen. Now, the FCC has never been used like this. Never have. But because we have a chairman there who was a Trump supporter, was put in by Trump, is now throwing his weight around, saying that, hey, all those folks who have FCC license renewals come up, you might want to be careful what you broadcast as fake news, which is what they're trying to do. They are literally and figuratively trying to control what you see. This is the reason why independent media is needed. Like stuff like my show, Don Lemon, Joy Reid, Hadan Bassan. I can keep going down the line. There are so many of them out there. Roland Martin. And like I said, I can keep going. There's a list of independent journalists out there that really should be followed, because this is the future they want. They want you to turn around. They want you to turn around, and they don't want. Well, we just don't want bad things to be said about Trump. And you have a person in power that will threaten FCC license renewal if it doesn't happen. You have someone like Barry Weiss over at CBS News that is turning 60 News from an award-winning journalistic foundation that we all know and love to a Trump celebration 24/7. And Brendan Carr, even though it is the weakest of threats out there, but at the same time, look what most media is doing. Although shout out to the Oscars, though, because the Oscars, Conan O'Brien, I'll give you credit, man. You took shots. And I guess they didn't really care over on the other side. At least that's what I'm thinking. But I just thought that was interesting that, again, the FCC is also being utilized to control what you see and hear on television and on the airwaves. But we shouldn't be surprised. It is Project 2025 in live effect. That also being said, anybody been going to the airport lately? You know, having issues getting through, getting checked in? Why? Because for a lot of people that don't know, we are in a partial government shutdown. Reason being that if you, and again, I've never understood this. This really should have been taken care of the last time the government was reopened. You have, because keep in mind, during the government shutdown, guys, government workers, those that work for the state and the government, including TSA, federal air traffic controllers, they have to show up at their job regardless whether they get a paycheck or not. And even during a partial government shutdown, TSA agents, the people that you love to walk, the people that you love to meet when you go to the airport, the people that, you know, bags open, laptop open before you go through the x-ray. When you come to the x-ray, arms down to your side, walk forward when we ask you to. Thank you. Imagine hearing that 24/7. Imagine hearing that for 12 hours a day through airports. But again, partial government shutdown. TSA agents have already went through their first week without a paycheck. And I know for a lot of us, imagine the simple fact of the matter, you have to work a job for free. Literally and figuratively for free. Because your gas does not run on free. Your mortgage or rent do not run on free. Your food bill does not run on free. Your cell phone bill doesn't run on free. Your daycare, if you have it, if you have children, doesn't run on free. But yet you have to give your time, your energy to this job, and you don't get paid because politicians who get paid regardless during a shutdown are taken care of. I always thought that was the most messed up thing about our Constitution. That amendment never made sense to me. In the midst of a government shutdown, representatives and senators are paid through the U.S. Treasury during a shutdown, while everybody else is scrambling, trying to make ends meet, dipping into savings and 401k that may not be much of anything. And don't think it doesn't have an effect on people traveling. Because like I said, I don't like flying. I actually hate flying. But for those that have to travel and have to go to those checkpoints, when you can't get check the TSA fast enough, you may miss flights. You may miss gate times. But what is being left out of all this is, what is the government doing about this? Because without TSA workers, you do not have a working airport.
Joined by Cameron Cochums. He's the lead transportation security officer at the Boise Airport, as well as the Idaho Regional Vice President for the American Federation of Government Employees, which represents 4,000 employees at 38 airports. Thank you so much for joining us. TSA agents missed their first full paycheck since the start of the shutdown on Friday. What toll is this taking on the lives of TSA agents like yourself?
Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for having me. That's correct. We've missed one full paycheck, but the last paycheck we got was only about 30% of what we normally make. And so how that's affected us is it's affected us mentally, it's affected us emotionally, it's affected us financially. People don't know when their next paycheck's going to be. They don't know how to pay their rent, how to pay their family bills, like doctor's bills or, groceries and things like that. So it's really tough on people because they don't know when it's going to end, and it looks like there's no end in sight.
And more than 300 agents have already resigned since the shutdown began. Sick calls have more than doubled. It's contributing to longer security lines at airports. Do you expect that the shutdown will have a longer impact on travel?
The longer the shutdown happens, the more people are going to have to decide between coming to work or taking care of their family. When people can't afford childcare because that keeps getting more and more expensive, and that they have to call out so they can go take care of their kids, of course that's going to lead to longer travel lines. And so just please be patient. People are trying to do what's best for their family, and try to think about not as an extra minute in line, but think of it as that's another person whose life's being upended because they aren't able to decide and fund TSA officers.
Do you think that there's reason for people to be concerned about security during this time?
I mean, that's a great question. There's a lot of internal and external factors going on around the country and the world. And so, people should be thinking about that at all times, but also know that the officers that work at our airports, they have the best interest of passengers. That's their forefront. That's what our goals are. Every person who works at TSA knows that our mission is to protect the nation's transportation system to ensure freedom of movement for people and commerce. And so that's what we live by. But it's something that people should be taking note with.
What message do you have for lawmakers in Washington about how this shutdown is affecting the American people?
I think Washington, I think they know what's going on. We call our Congress members every day. We meet with them. They know how this affects us. But, our message is to fund the government, fund specifically this. If they want to treat government like a business, what businesses cannot get paid for 2 months at a time and continue to be a successful company? And so I think they just really need to push past the Shutdown Fairness Act, which would pay us during shutdowns like this. And they need to compromise and come together. That's what we've learned as in school as kids, it's like the government has to come together and compromise to pass a budget, pass laws, everything like that. This is just like normal, and they're just not compromising and learning and working together.
Cameron Coachum.
And unfortunately, that's the case. Imagine you have to work. Most TSA agents have called out. Some have outright quit, and you can't blame them. You can't blame them because why come work for free? And that's the question where a lot of people are asking. And a lot of people are asking, like, well, why is it that for our job, you would think for one second, you would think that they would follow up and say, you know what? We should actually add an amendment where government workers will get paid regardless if there's a shutdown or not. If there's a shutdown, they will still be paid. Because like I said, representatives and senators get paid either way because it's a constitution. It's been added as an amendment in the Constitution. Government workers, like TSA agents, are SOL. And I don't blame them for calling out. I wouldn't work for free. You're sitting there and telling me that I have to come, deal with the great human experiment for 8, 10, 12 hours, not getting a paycheck at the end, and I'm enduring all this. I am basically working for free. And that makes no sense to do so. So no, I don't blame I don't blame TSA agents. I do not blame 911 first responders. I don't blame FAA traffic controllers, because the only way you're going to send a message is through your actions. So just like the reporter asked, what happens about security? Well, it's funny you should ask about security. Less TSA agents means greater chances for things to happen. Not that we wish things to happen at an airport, but let's be honest. if you remove certain safety protocols and guidelines and personnel, the greater the chances something could happen, although we are not wishing it. But it is amazing to me that when it comes to people, we have enough money for wars, but yet have not figured out how to pay our government workers during a partial shutdown. You can't make this up. And the fact that this is all, keep in mind, this is all based around the fact that Diaper Don wants his SAVE Act to be pushed. Keep in mind about the SAVE Act, for all those that don't remember, they're trying to change the voting rules and they're trying to move the goalpost because Diaper Don knows the midterms will either be his victory lap or will be his death knell. One of the two. And Democrats, I promise to God, you guys have the easiest campaign. You have so much of broken promises that Trump has put out there. You have so much of people who are miserable right now that have voted for Trump, sometimes more than once, and immediately regret it. You have the data to show that this man has ran the country the same way he's ran every one of his businesses into the ground and headed for bankruptcy. And yet, come November, Democrats should have one goal. They should have a 2/3 majority in Congress. Now, why do I say 2/3? Because with a 2/3 majority in Congress, you can impeach someone, impeach multiple people, you can remove many positions, you can do a lot to make Trump's last couple of years very uncomfortable for his ass. But depends on what the Democrats do. But as far as the SAVE Act, it unfortunately did pass the House and is now currently in the Senate.
The House has officially passed the GOP's Save America Act. The act would require government-mandated proof of citizenship, such as passports or birth certificates, to register to vote. It would also require states to remove non-citizens from existing voter rolls. Supporters of the bill say it would protect election integrity and crack down on non-citizen voting, while opponents argue the bill would make registering harder for millions of voters. So the Constitution already prohibits non-citizens from voting in federal and state elections, and state election boards say instances of non-citizen voting are rare. The bill now heads over to the Senate, where it faces a potential filibuster from the Democrats. So let's bring in ABC News legal contributor James Sample.
Now, I'll stop it there just because, again, it's going to go into the whole thing of what could happen, what can be done, and, would some Democrats side with Republicans, which, again, if they do, they also should be replaced come midterms. But here's the thing that I wanted to bring up that a lot of people are not, that you really should know when it does come to the Save America Act. Literally and figuratively, what they're saying is what you're at right now. Most states outside of 12 states all require a government-issued ID. All of them require a government-issued ID to vote. Here in Tennessee, no different. Your driver's license, your ID, your CDL, whatever government-issued license you have, or if you have a passport, or if you have any other type of government-issued ID, again, will work. Here's the problem. Republicans are still fledging on this bullshit lie that illegal immigrants can vote. Now, this is where we need to use some logic in our brains. The only way someone can vote is that you have to have an ID. If you have an ID, that means they can find you, see that you're a resident and that you're a U.S. citizen or a naturalized citizen, and then you'll be able to vote. It's that simple. There has never been a record of illegal immigrant voting, but that's the lie that Trump wants to tell. At the same time, here's another thing that's a problem with government-issued IDs. They want to pass this real ID. Now, for all those that don't know what real IDs are, these are the new government IDs that are coming out, sometimes with a little star on it, somewhere on the license. Either way, it's a pain in the ass. Me and my wife had to do it. The process ain't fun because it's stupid and it's unnecessary. But with that real ID, we could vote. But also, under the Save America Act, you either have to have a real ID, a birth certificate, your U.S. passport. That's 3. So your real ID, birth certificate, U.S. passport. Now, here's the problem for a lot of people. This is problem number one. Number one, not everybody has a real ID because you're going to wind up getting one anyway. Not every American has a real ID. Number two, birth certificate. Why, Will, did you bring that up? Well, I bring that up because some people may not have their original birth certificate. And depending if you move from one state to another, it may be problematic or sometimes just a pain in the ass to get your birth certificate, depending on the state that you're in. And also with birth certificates, because this is actually going toward women. Now, with your birth certificate, let's be honest, it's the name that you're brought into this world with, right? Right. With women, however, who are married, your married name is not on your birth certificate. Your maiden name is. Why is that a problem? Because if you try to go vote with your birth certificate as it stands under the Save America Act, you wouldn't be able to do so. They would turn you away because that is, quote unquote, not a valid birth certificate because it does not match your name. Well, that's stupid. Yes, it is. But outside of that, outside the U.S. passport, which again, not a lot of people have a U.S. passport. Not a lot of people do. Which also at the same time, you have closed voting polls, areas to where you can go vote. You've closed down areas to where some nonprofit organizations were in conjunction with libraries getting people's passport applications passed. And the State Department has effectively said, nah, we're good. We're not working on them right now, or we're backlogging them. So under Trump's Save America plan, right, it's targeting mostly women. Because again, your married name is on your birth certificate. At the same time, what other option do you have? Some women may have a real ID. Some women may have a passport. But let's play devil's advocate here. Let's also say a good majority may not. And then here's the kicker out of all this for all those who don't know. That some states, if you don't have all that and you're trying to clear it up on the spot, there's a fee. There's a fee. There's one in California. There's one in Texas. And if you guess right, there's one in Tennessee. So if you do not have what you need at the time of you voting, there's a process that they can help you with on the spot. It may cost you a little money. It may cost you 20, may cost you 30, may cost you 40, may cost you 45, depending on what state you're in. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a poll tax. We have not seen poll tax since the likes of Jim Crow. And it is beyond illegal. Beyond illegal. At the same time, it should be frowned upon because that's how bad, that's how, and this is why I say that's how extreme they are going with voting. Keep in mind, they wanted to get rid of mail-in voting because, again, a lot of people during COVID did mail-in voting. Even Trump did. At the same time, they're closing down places where you can vote. And trust and believe, and I'm going to go ahead and say this now because we're 8 months away. If you think for 1 second they are not going to try to cancel early voting, I'm going to go ahead and call it. They're going to try to cancel early voting. Now, I prefer early voting because, again, if you can do it on Friday or Saturday, perfect. You can beat the election day because, unfortunately, election day is still not a federal holiday. Because some people have to decide whether to work or to actually go, do their civic duty and go vote. At the same time, it should be easier, but they don't make it easier. Why? Because Republicans are panicking. They're trying to do everything that they can to ensure voting goes in their favor or prevent you from voting. If it means that you have to pay a poll tax, if it means that you have to go another route, if it means they take away your early voting. And this is why I say early voting is the next step. They're going to try to go after that and streamline it down because early voting used to be maybe 2 weeks. It used to be early. I'm pretty sure it's at least 2 weeks. Early voting used to be 2 weeks to where you can go into almost every location that has early voting, handle your business, be done, and don't have to worry about November. Trust and believe the Republicans will do everything they can to not only go after that, but to move the goalposts. Why? Because they're nervous about what happens come November, and Democrats should be taking full advantage of that. But not everything is bad, guys. It really isn't, because why? We're about to see the next Fox News correspondent, because remember that guy that looked like a Nazi, Greg Bovino, who was the head of the border control commander? Yeah, his smiling ass is about to be retired.
And new on News Live, Greg Bovino, the former commander at large for Customs and Border Patrol, is expected to retire at the end of the month. That's what multiple officials are telling ABC News. But a statement from the Department of Homeland Security says, quote, Chief Bovino has not submitted any retirement paperwork. Bovino was the face of some high-profile CBP operations in cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, and New Orleans. I spoke with him when we were there in Chicago about the immigration crackdown there. He was relieved of his commander-at-large duties after 2 federal officer-involved deaths of U.S. citizens in Minneapolis earlier this year.
And I will not feel bad about his retirement, because the man dressed like a Nazi, acted like a Nazi, even employed Nazi tactics. And if you don't believe his ass is not going to be on Fox News giving his opinions and analysis, you are full of it. Because trust me, he's going to wind up being there. Just saying. That also being said, it doesn't help talk about gas prices, because let's be honest, whenever in a war, 2 things happen. Gas prices go up, and pretty much gun and ammo manufacturers have a payday. So yes, gas prices are still surging. Don't expect them to go down anytime soon. That's pretty much the end of that. Also, I have to say, RFK and his vaccination suggestions have been halted by a judge. Thank God.
The federal judge yesterday blocked Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s recent overhaul of the nation's childhood vaccine schedule. So in January, the health secretary reduced the number of vaccines recommended for all children from 18 to 11. Among the drops, vaccines for the flu, rotavirus, and meningitis. So in response, the American Academy of Pediatrics and other medical groups filed a lawsuit arguing the vaccine changes violated federal law. Well, federal health officials indicated they plan to appeal that judge's ruling.
And of course they're going to appeal it. Why? Because it's RFK. And guys, here's what I say about that. Because the simple fact of the matter is, RFK is a effing lunatic. He is not a doctor. He's never been a physician. He's never did medical school. He's never did residency. He is a guy that sees a carcass on the side of the road, takes it home, and begins his own National Geographic channel. This is a guy who drinks raw milk. This is a guy who believes that that pretty much sugary cereals are the devil. This is a guy who believes that Tylenol causes autism in pregnant women, and there is no direct link to it. He believed that vaccinations cause autism. And again, no evidence can be effing found. So yes, when he suggested that the vaccine calendar, or I should say, the vaccine protocols that were for young children, that he thinks they should be adjusted, thank God the American Pediatrics Association was like, hold the frack up. No, that they don't need to get measles. They don't need to get the measles or mumps vaccines. Are you effing crazy? With the outbreaks that have happened in South Carolina and Texas for measles. Keep in mind, it is 2026 and we had a measles outbreak. There's a reason why vaccinations have been invented. Why? To make sure this shit doesn't happen anymore. Not that freaking hard. So yes, I am glad that a federal judge did block it. But yes, let's be honest, it is going to be tied up with the lawyers. And hopefully they'll see reason. But again, RFK, don't trust an effing thing this man says. He does have brain leeches, for God's sakes. But speaking of things that don't make any sense, Representative Jim Clyburn, 80-plus-year-old politician, is actually rerunning again for his district. I have questions after this.
In a few minutes, I'm going to sign the paperwork that's necessary in order to qualify for the Democratic nomination to run again for the Now that satisfies the federal requirements. In order to satisfy the state party's requirements, I'm now going to present the check, the filing fee to my district director, Robert Nance. As you know, Monday is a legislative day, and I will be returning to Washington on Monday, but the rules allow for an agent to file the paperwork and pay the check, and Robert will be there when filing opens 9 o'clock on Monday morning to finalize what we are beginning here today. I have served in public life all of my life. When I graduated from South Carolina State back in December 1961, I went off to Charleston, where I became a public school teacher, teaching history to students on the east side of Charleston. Now, the east side was rather unique. It was the most densely populated area in the state of South Carolina. The students there were not expected to be as successful as the students on the other side of town, the west side of Charleston, where my late wife was the librarian. But I used to say to Emily all the time that there was something about those students that I thought, if given the opportunity, they would succeed far beyond expectations. And I took it upon myself to change the method by which they were taught. And I began to teach history to those young people from the evening news and the morning newspapers, using the textbook that the state had given me as a reference book. And I saw how those students reacted to history when they could feel that it was an integral part of their lives. And that is the way that I'm trying to carry out all of my public service.
So I will say this to Representative Clyburn, very distinguished man. Again, a long career in politics. And yes, he has been very pivotal in a lot of measures, historical measures that have actually passed through Congress. He is also a Q, so respect, even though I'm a Sigma, he's a Q, so respect. But here's the one thing I'll say, and you guys have heard me say this before, Congress is slowly becoming a nursing home with power. Well, technically not slowly, it's already a nursing home with power. What I mean by that is, do I think, and this has been said, do I think that some individuals don't know when to leave? Now, here's what I will say, because this is what I believe. I do believe that there should be term limits. I believe that when it comes to representatives and senators, they should have the same term limits as the president. You should have 2 consecutive terms, and then you're out. That, to me, would speed up the efficiency of Congress by a landslide if all you get is 2 terms. If all you get is 2 terms and you're out, then hey, things will speed up in Congress. That's all I'm saying. That also being said, although we're expecting Congress to put term limits on themselves, that's right up there with that bill that's in there right now saying you can't get rich while you're in Congress. The bill that's introduced that sat there and says that no member of Congress or their families can invest in stocks, Bitcoins, trading. It's a great idea. But if you're expecting Congress to pass it, I got some beachfront property in Ohio I want to sell you. But getting back to Representative Clyburn and my point, that some people feel a certain way because of his age. He's 80+ years old and he's rerunning for Congress. The man has had a successful record in Congress, and I can't knock him for that. But I will say this. Do I think the nursing home of Congress needs to be evicted? Only if they are not pushing progressive measures that need to be done. If they're with the status quo, if they're centrist, then they got to go. I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is a centrist, moderate Democrat. Might as well be Republican light. He has shown time after time that he will not move forward with progressive measures. He has shown time after time he is not going to be bold and fight for them. He will sit there, smile, and be like, just give it time. It's going to work out just fine. Middle of the road. Nancy Pelosi was also one. And, she decided that, hey, I'm not running anymore. This is my last year. Well, cool, Miss Pelosi. You kind of should have done it 20 years ago, but cool. So Clyburn is very progressive. He is pushing a lot of progressive measures forward. He is an educator, and his ideas are not outdated. They're very much modern. They're very much trying to push things, change things. And with that, I see no problem with him running again. But a young Hakeem Jeffries who picks and chooses his battles, that's already a sign this man is not what you want him to be. And again, I'll be the first to say it. I thought Hakeem Jeffries was going to be great. I thought that, maybe he would be exactly what we need in Congress. It turns out he's just a younger Chuck Schumer. He can go. But yes, when it comes to the nursing home in Congress, if they're not still trying to push forward with youthful progressive agendas, I am sorry, you must leave. You are in the way of others who are younger by choice of fate, who are younger and need to step in and continue the work that you've done. But in Clyburn, I don't see nothing wrong with that, because unfortunately, someone like him, his experience is going. Unfortunately, that's terrible. He's very needed for the experience that he has in Congress and the things he wants to do. So I don't think it's ageism on his part. It's just like, I would love, and I challenge anybody else that hears this, I would love for all those that say that he needs to go. Who's your alternative? Because it always goes back to what I've always said at the end of the podcast. If you don't like the choices that are presented to you, what are you doing? Are you pushing forward a candidate that you believe has your values, or are you stepping up to the plate? Because you cannot complain about what's being served to you for free if you ain't in the kitchen or you're not the one trying to push forward the caterer. Just saying. But we are going to move on to our feel-good segment of the podcast. Usually how the Frack We Got Here, we usually cover a lot of things that are doom and gloom. Sometimes make these fake humanity, but hey, it's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday, which is hump day. We will leave you guys out some good positive vibrations, and we will definitely do that with this next clip. I don't care if this does get banned on YouTube. This was a moment in Black history that everybody, if you didn't get to see it, you really should, because on that night, we all celebrated that one of us had won.
And the Oscar goes to Michael B. Jordan.
This is the first Oscar win and nomination for Michael B. Jordan. Man, God is good. God is good. And your mama, what's up?
Y'all know how I feel about my mother and my father's here. Your pops, where you at? My dad came in from Ghana. He flew in from Ghana to be here. My brother, my sister's here. My family. I want to thank Warner Brothers. I want to thank Mike and Pam for believing in this dream, this vision of Ryan Coogler, and betting on a culture and betting on original ideas and original artistry. And you're an amazing person. I'm so honored to call you a collaborator and a friend. And you gave me the opportunity and space for me to be seen. And I love you too, bro. Love you to death. I would like to thank my incredible cast. Wumi, thank you so much for giving Smoke opportunity to be him. Haley at home, she's getting ready to have a baby right now. Thank you so much for being the other half of Stack. Miles, Delroy, Jamie, everybody, Lily, Omar, the entire cast. I thank you guys for supporting me through this. My team, Phil Sun, Greg Slewitt, Lindsey Gallon. Man, y'all. I stand here because of the people that came before me. Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, Jamie Foxx, Forrest Whitaker, Will Smith, and to be amongst those giants, amongst those greats, amongst my ancestors, amongst my guys. Thank you, everybody in this room and everybody at home for supporting me over my career. I feel it. I know you guys want me to do well, and I want to do that because you guys bet on me. So thank you for keep betting on me. And I'm gonna keep stepping up, and I'm gonna keep being the best version of myself I could be. So I just want to say thank you for everybody in this room that had something to do with my success. I love you guys, and everybody at home who supported Sinners, who went to go see the movie once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Thank you, because you guys made this movie what it is. I love you. I love you. I love you.
I'm sorry. In the words of Delroy Lindo, they trying to play me off. I'm not going. I'm not stopping. I'm not cutting off. But no, want to give that because let's be honest, Michael B. Jordan winning the Oscar for Best Actor in the movie Sinners. The fact that so many people, congratulated. I know in every black household, every black woman was screaming out top of her lungs, and every black man understood. At the same time, we all celebrated. Why? Because Michael B. Jordan, keep in mind, if you think about the movies, and we talked about this on Blurred's Eye, you think about the movies, Hardball, Fruit Valley Station, Creed, Black Panther, Sinners. That's just 5 movies that, I'm going to be honest, he should have got awards in. Really should have, especially with Killmonger, Fruit Valley Station. I'm just saying. But the crazy part about all this is, for a lot of people, and I said this on Blurred's Eye View, and I'll say it here. Imagine the work this man has put in. You literally and figuratively had to play 2 characters on the same movie. You had to work twice as hard to be recognized at the freaking awards. Because let's also be honest, at the Oscars, we're not sure if he was going to get it. We're not sure. And I'm be honest with you guys, I may be biased, but Sinners should have swept the same way the Lord of the Rings did. Really should have. Don't care how you feel about that other movie, one battle after another. Because let's be honest, Leo got his moment because he had to get ravaged by a bear to get his Oscar. So what does that tell you? But we gonna keep on a happy note. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan for winning that award, much deserved, brother. And we all cheered for you. And trust and believe, Chadwick is definitely smiling down on that one. So again, props. That being said, that's going to do it for this podcast, guys. Thank you all for watching, for liking, for letting people know this is live. I certainly appreciate that. We're back on Facebook. Apparently, we're out of Facebook jail. So if you're watching on Facebook, thanks. Really appreciate that. But definitely do check our other channels as well, as we do get in our shameless plugging as we usually do. Shout out to APR TV. Why? Because how the frack can we see on APR TV? It's an app that could be on your Roku channel or Amazon Fire. Definitely check them out. Definitely check that out, as well as other shows on APR TV. You will not be disappointed. Also, blurredstation.com. It is a place, guys, to where it has movies, television, anime, you name it, $10.99 a month. We just actually wrapped up our Blurred Station stream at BlurredCon the week before last. So if you were in the DC area and got to check it out, it definitely was a vibe. definitely go to the Blur Station YouTube to actually see our stream, as it can be found there. A lot of great things went down, a lot of great interviews, a lot of dope cosplayers. It was the homecoming that we all need to go to as Black folks. But as far as Blur Station, $10.99 a month to stream Blur Station, and Blur Station can be streamed on all smart devices. Definitely check that out. Also, check us out on YouTube at How the Frack We Got Here. Simply type in How the Frack We Got Here podcast, and we're the first thing that pops up. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button so anytime that we do go live or a new episode is uploaded, you will definitely be notified. And yes, we cannot do any of this without you, so thank you all that have actually subscribed. And if you're new here, please do so. We definitely want you to be a part of the conversation as well as the mission to inform. Also, check out Blurred's Eye View, the other show I was talking about that I'm a part of every Tuesday and Thursday, although Thursday we do not do this show Thursday. But still, check us out the YouTube area. Why? Because all of our links can be found there. You can check out Room Full of Blurs every Sunday at 7 p.m. with Dave Montella. She goes over indie comics and artists. You can check out Geek by Heart as her and her husband do movie reviews as well as streaming, as she does currently Tears of the Kingdom, which will be followed with Sound Hill F. Definitely like and share and follow there. Check out Tafara TV Gaming, Tafara TV's second gaming channel for modern and retro games. And he does it all while walking on a treadmill. I don't know about y'all. That's freaking impressive. Also, my other show, the Give It Podcast, every Friday at 8:30-ish. Definitely can like and follow us there. Of course, How the Frack We Got Here. Navy Montell of BlurCon Speaks, as usually holds conversation with dope cosplayers and artists, as well as gaming himself. Shokwo, who definitely does looter shooters like Overwatch. Definitely check her out. Laura the Culture, that usually is knee-deep in comics and Hollywood media. You can definitely check him out as well. And, of course, Tafara TV's main channel. You can definitely like and follow him there. Again, we're all located on the Blurred's Eye View webpage, so definitely check us out there. Outside of that, guys, my own personal social, Black_Spartan 615. You can like and follow me there. I usually talk to everybody. Just don't make it weird. I don't want to get in the habit of blocking people. At the same time, guys, mental health is everything. What the mind does, the body follows. Again, there are services, there's personnel, there's therapy out there for you to take advantage of if you're not feeling right. It is okay to not be all right. But again, it's not okay to not ask for help, especially when help is right there if you need it. So definitely take the time out for your mental as well as your physical. And speaking of physicals, Black men, I cannot stress this enough. Please go to the doctor. Like I said, my birthday was 7 days ago, and I'm 43 now. I know what's coming. I know there are certain checks and tests that are coming. I'm not looking forward to it. Matter of fact, I'm dreading it, but I gotta do it. Why? Because, well, I actually have 4 reasons why I need to be here. At the same time, I know, guys, we do say a lot when it comes to us going to the doctor. I don't have time, and other things depend on us. Guys, make the time, because you don't know what can be prevented. You don't know what can be done. Please don't wait until it's too late. And at the same time, like I said, I know working out is great. I love to work out. I can't do much of it right now because I'm a little under the weather, but still, get checked out, Black men. Go to a doctor, really get seen, make sure you're all right, because we need you here. We want you here. That also being said, guys, please protect your mental. Like I said before, protect your peace. Go outside, enjoy grass. I know the first day of spring is coming up for all you spring babies, because Mother Nature has decided to pull a bipolar mode. Some areas got snow, some areas got rain, some areas got tornadoes, and then some people got normal weather. It's like Mother Nature is playing D&D and rolling less than 5s. But go outside if you can, check on your people, have some fun. Everything's going to be all right. Just drop the phone and stop doom scrolling for a little while. That also being said, guys, last thing I'll say about How the Frack Got Here, it's all about staying informed. We are not trying to reinvent the wheel. We are simply giving you all the information to make up your own mind, but we do provide a lot of perspective that goes along with it. We do better as society once we're informed. We're progressive. We move forward. We try to right the wrongs of our past and making decisions now that we should have done back then. Like electing our first Black woman to the Supreme Court, electing our first Black woman as a Federal Reserve governor. One day, electing our first Black woman to be called Madam President. All great things. We don't learn from history. We are doomed to repeat it. That's what we keep asking ourselves. Why does everything go over our paycheck? Why are we electing different politicians but still the same old game in Congress? And most importantly, how the Frack We Got Here. Thank you all for watching, guys. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and I promise we'll all get through this. Live long and prosper, guys. I'm out. Peace.